I feel like I blend in with all my plants in the background. Do you like my shirt? It says, doing my best. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, hello, my name is Megs. In today's video, I really wanted to talk about my health and wellness journey and kind of how I got to where I am today. I think that a lot of the times when you see someone's health and wellness journey, you don't really see all of it, or there's like this perception that they have it all figured out and that it's just like so easy for them. Somehow it just all magically works out for them. And then you try to do the same in your life, and that's just not the case. You can't keep up, or making all the switches is hard. And I just wanted to kind of share my story with that, and to just like show you what the reality is of a health and wellness journey. The reason that I'm sharing my health and wellness journey online, if you're new here, is because back in 2019, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That is how my YouTube channel kind of came about. I have a whole series of tens and tens of videos that I did about that. So if you or someone you know has been diagnosed with cancer, I'd love it if you gave those videos a watch, because maybe they can help you out in a way. So I'll leave them up here for you. With that being said, that was kind of like the big tipping point in my life that made me really make all the big changes that I have to my health and to my wellness. That's kind of what kickstarted this journey of trying to live a much healthier life. But obviously we have to start from the beginning. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through my life projection of health and wellness. So starting off as a child, I was always pretty athletic. I have 2 younger brothers, so we were always running around. I was pretty athletic and active as a child. I didn't actually really have a concept of like health at all, or healthy food or anything like that. I was just kind of like one of those kids that ate what was given to them, and that was that. And then kind of when I went to high school, that's when I started learning about healthy food versus unhealthy food. I developed pretty bad acne in high school, and of course that was something that I was extremely self-conscious about. And then through trying a lot of topical stuff that didn't really work, I started realizing that sugar, highly processed foods, pop, was contributing to my complexion not looking at its greatest. I slowly started to cut out those types of foods, and I slowly started to try to eat healthier. High school is also when I kind of started like going to the gym, but like not knowing what to do at the gym. So just kind of like being on the elliptical, being on the treadmill, didn't dare touch the weights because I had no idea what I was doing, and I was very intimidated by people at the weight section. Then I went into university, and same thing, kind of like started going to the gym more, started slowly exploring more. This is when fitness YouTubers became really popular, and then that kind of gave me confidence to start trying things at the gym. When it came to my eating, I was still living at home, so I still kind of ate what I was given, but then I kind of started like learning about like healthier alternatives to snacks, eating your fruits and your veggies. Then I moved out, and I moved in with my boyfriend Alex and started cooking. But again, like totally didn't really catch the concept of like being completely healthy. At the time we were both super busy, so it was like freezer meals or really quick things that you could quickly heat up. But I did start to cook, so I did start to discover a lot of fruits and vegetables that I did love, that I actually was never exposed to. I grew up in a very European household, and I guess there are just some like foods that like Europeans eat, but then like they don't really eat a lot of other things. And so then I, through like living with Alex and just being able to go to the grocery store alone and looking up recipes on my own, I discovered so many new like fruits, vegetables, like foods, recipes, and now a lot of my favorite foods are foods that I actually never knew about until I moved out. Kind of got like a better grasp of cooking and stuff like that. Fitness, I was going to the gym more regularly, but it was never like a goal of mine. It was kind of like when I was bored or like when I had some time, but I was working a lot. I was working like 2 to 3 jobs. I was in school full time. So it was kind of like, the gym was never a priority. Then in 2019, as most of you know, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And that was really like the tipping point of my mentality when I decided to make that hard switch. Going through chemotherapy treatment, I was pretty worried about putting my body through such a harsh treatment. It was really confusing for me emotionally, just because it was like, I'm doing this treatment to save my life, but at the same time, it's like harming me because it's damaging my body, like doing this cancer treatment. So that's kind of why I made the switch of like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can to complement helping my body get healthier, which meant to make the switches health-wise So both like in my nutrition and in my physical activity. And so obviously like while I was in the middle of chemo, I couldn't really do a lot, but I did slowly start to look at the foods that we had at our house. I completely eliminated any sort of like frozen meals, any sort of like freezer dinners. Definitely started really prioritizing fruits, vegetables, what were we eating that was very highly processed and not, and slowly but surely like making those switches. And trust me, it wasn't overnight. This was like over like a year. I would slowly like look at things and see if there was a better alternative or if there was something different that we could have instead. Because you know what? You don't really realize it. The things that you're used to eating all the time, sometimes you don't realize how bad it could be for you. Even as simple as like at the time I drink coffee, like switching out how I drink my coffee. Like I used to use creamers and lots of sugar. And with fitness, I also started to really understand how movement impacted the body, more so when I was undergoing treatment. Even though I didn't regularly go to the gym prior to my treatment, I still moved around a lot. I had a very go lifestyle, and I worked as a server, so I was on my feet a lot, I was running around a lot, and I was just going back and forth between different jobs. So I had a very active lifestyle. And then when I was undergoing treatment, I couldn't do any of that. So I was at home a lot, I was on bed rest a lot. And with that, my body became very, very sore. I began developing really bad back pain and just like stiff joints because I wasn't moving around as much. And I hated the way that I felt with that. And so I really started to learn how moving my body and how being able to just like do little things for myself really helps me feel better, and it helped subside other side effects as well. So just even like when I couldn't go to the gym, obviously because of germs and stuff, I wasn't able to really go to the gym during my treatment. I tried to do little home workouts on days that I felt that I could, or even just as simple as going for walks, small little things that I could do to move my body around. And that's kind of really when I noticed how much movement impacts your overall well-being, more so than just like a physical, like the looks aspect of it. Because prior to that, for me, going to the gym was just like so you would look good, so you'd have a butt and you'd have abs and you would look good, versus now it was more than that. Obviously that is a component of it, but it was more so like my body just felt good and it needed it. So then once I finished treatment and I was kind of on my recovery of life after cancer, I started going back to the gym and trying to do workouts and like kind of getting my body back to where it was. And that in itself was awesome, because feeling myself getting better and better, although it was like a slow progression, it was very frustrating. There was a lot of ups and downs because it's not really clear how to, you know, get back into it after going through something like cancer treatment. I lost a lot of muscle, my body looked different, it felt different, and so it was a really slow transition back into the gym, but slowly doing it and trying to be consistent with it. But then I faced another challenge, which was going back to work, because obviously when I was doing treatment, I was at home and it was easier to just, you know, make myself healthy food all the time, eat well, watch what I was eating, versus going back to work and being put back in a stressful environment. That in itself presented another challenge, and, you know, coming up with quick meals to eat in the evenings that I could meal prep, that I could have for lunch the next day. That was hard, and again, a learning curve. And then in 2020, the pandemic happened, and we all kind of know what happens there with health and fitness. I think a lot of us were in the same boat where gyms were closed and people, you know, had to start doing home workouts. So it was really the only way to be able to move your body a lot, especially since here a majority of the pandemic was spent in winter time, and our winters are very cold and very like grueling here in Winnipeg. I started trying to do home workouts. I tried to do different like fitness programs that were available online through like ebooks. I tried to do like YouTube follow-alongs. A lot of trainers and coaches that I was following were doing IG live workouts, but again, it was kind of like I would do it, but it was hard because it was kind of like you're living in this weird time of like uncertainty. And same thing with food. It was like there was shortages of a lot of stuff, and then it was like you just want comfort food because you can't leave your house and you can't go anywhere and it's cold outside. So we would start ordering in food, or we would have a lot of snacks because we'd have a lot of movie nights, because what else are you gonna do when you can't leave your house? And so then I definitely found myself kind of back into that like slightly unhealthy train, I want to say. But then it kind of started clicking again when I realized I didn't feel good again. I didn't feel good, not in the sense of like my health, but in the sense of like just every day when you wake up, you don't have a lot of energy, you don't feel great, and you want to feel better. So that's when I started to kind of kick the wheels back into motion of like, okay, let's get healthier again. Then pandemic started slowly like letting up, and it was actually summer at the time, so that was a really nice motivator and boost, and a lot of people were starting to get back into it, and I started going to farmers markets. I discovered I love farmers markets and all the fresh fruits and vegetables, and I started learning about seasonal vegetables. I started cooking a lot more, and that is kind of how I fell in love with finding meals. So rather than trying to cook up a fancy dinner, I really tried to make it a goal to find things that I could cook that were fast, healthy, and I could make in big portions, so that way Alex and I could have dinner and lunch the next day. That was kind of like the main focus of what I was doing. And so like fast forward to now, I think my mentality around nutrition and eating and working out has completely changed. Again, I see it less as like a physical thing, a physical appearance thing, and more so as like a how can I just fuel my body to feel at its best. So now when it comes to food, I'm not restrictive. I still obviously let myself have junk food. I let myself go out. I let myself be treated to dessert, but I just try to be more conscious of the things that I eat consistently. I tried to have a smoothie every single morning for breakfast that I jam-pack with like superfoods and protein and stuff like that. I just try to, when I cook, make healthy meals, so that way when you eat them, you feel better. You just naturally do. It's just making little swaps here and there that I know are things we eat consistently that I could just have essentially healthier versions of, or even just like looking at things that I'm doing that might not be the healthiest for me. So what can I cut out of my routine that maybe is not great? Like for example, drinking alcohol. I never drank a lot of alcohol, but I would have like a beer or some wine like here and there in the evenings and when I went out. And I just realized that like I just did not enjoy how I felt on it. I don't enjoy not even a hangover, but just how you feel heavy and gross the next day. I really didn't enjoy that. So that's something I've been cutting out, not limiting, but just cutting out because I want to. I don't drink coffee because of my hormones, and that again is just a personal choice. I try to limit, how many sugary things I have in the house because I know that I'm tempted by sweets. And so if I have a lot of sweets in the house, I'll constantly be having them. Whereas if I only let myself get like 1 or 2 treats every grocery run, then once the treats are gone, they're gone. I also started working with a naturopath really closely last year. With that, I found out I have hormone imbalances and other things that we're trying to work on. So I've been trying to supplement with not only vitamins and supplements, but also with adding different foods into my diet, or eating less of a certain food, eating more of others, to just be able to help naturally bring that up and help me get my hormones back to normal. When it comes to fitness, again, I've been trying to be consistent with it, but not in the sense of I want to look a certain way, but in the sense of I know that I need it for my mental health and for my emotional well-being. I know my body feels so much better when I work out consistently, when I get a good sweat in, when I'm moving my body. I still have back problems from like my chemo days, unfortunately, but I do realize that when I do work out consistently and move those muscles and get them moving and stretching, then my back doesn't hurt as much. My body just feels great. I get better sleeps. I feel more calm. Again, for my mental health, like I feel more calm. And so now my mindset has really shifted, like again, around why I do the things I do for my health. And if you're ever curious kind of like what I eat and stuff that I cook, I do share them occasionally on Instagram. So you can follow my Instagram right here. And I do also have a highlight, I think it's called Yum Tips, where I do share meals and recipes of things that I find online. Sometimes I put my own spin on it, but it's usually just super easy, quick meals that I leave for like the evenings and I'm able to make big portions out of, because again, that's kind of my goal of like eating healthy whole foods, but just making it super simple to fit my lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, when you do try to create a lifestyle for yourself around health and wellness, you have to make sure it works for you. That is all for this video. I really hope that you either found it interesting, maybe you learned something, or it makes you feel motivated to keep pushing on your own journey. Trust me, I know it's hard. I've gone through like ups and downs, and like I've gone through periods where I feel like I'm great and then the next week I'm beating myself up. I think a lot of that I have to change my mentality around it too, just realizing, life has different ebbs and flows, life has different seasons, and it's okay that you're doing great one week and not so great the next. But again, I just kind of wanted to summarize how it is having a healthy lifestyle, because it's definitely doable for everybody, and all it is starting off with small things and making small changes and then growing that and building on top of it. So thank you so much for watching. If you do have any comments or questions, please do leave them down in the comments below, or send me a DM on Instagram. I'm always happy to chat. But with that, I'll see you all in the next video. So know yourself, know your body, and until next time.